Sorry, I cannot offer you any ice. That's all right. I'll just stick it in there. Thank you. Put those in that basket. Yeah, I'll sort it in a bit. Right, I think we're on. Yep. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, it says I'm on. Shout if you can hear me. Not sure if I'm online or not. Hello, Paul. Can you hear me? Can you just someone comment if you can hear me? Yo, can you hear me loud and clear? Cool. I can't see my screen for some reason, so but hello, Ronaldus, Tess, J. Haim, yes, mate. Okay, good. Right, guys. Well, it's been a while since I've come on here. Thought I'd do a bit of a Q&A. I'm just going to be working away, as you can see on my screen. Which can you see my screen as well as being able to hear me? But I'm just going to be plodding along with an edit. So I'll have this in the background, and if you want to ask any questions, then ask away, and I'll answer them as best I can. Or you can just watch me work, if that floats your boat. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can see my screen. Good. Craig, how are we doing? Thanks for joining in, guys. Forgive me, it's obviously been a while since I've done any of this, and I've also not got an office in the same sense that I used to. My office has disappeared, so I'm kind of just working off my laptop and in the front room. And obviously it's been a while since I've been on here, so I'm just trying to refigure out how to use the streaming software. So like I say, it's just I'm just going to be pottering away doing some work, and if you've got any questions, then fire away. I will answer them as best I can. I did have a couple of little things I wanted to say. Well, I've got some of you. Obviously, with the whole pandemic and everything, I kind of had a bit of time away from YouTube, but I'm looking to get back onto it more regularly now that we're back in full flow. I've been doing weddings again since June of this year, when the UK was back allowed out, and weddings were allowed again. So I've been working pretty much every weekend since June. Done some really nice weddings. It's so good to be back, and I've got loads of nice films coming onto the channel soon. I'm also got a couple of review videos coming soon. I've just ordered the Sony TX660 recorder, which is the successor to the 650, which is what I use for all my audio. So I've got the new version of that I'm going to review once that comes. I'm going to test that out. I've got a review of the DJI Mini 2 because I've started using that for my weddings. So I'm going to do a bit of a review of that. I've got a couple of sort of those kind of technical videos coming out, and I've filmed one behind the scenes video at a wedding last weekend, and I'm going to film another one in a couple of weeks. So, and hopefully a couple more before the end of the season. So I'm going to have some new BTS content coming soon. So I'm fully committed to being back on the channel, and there's exciting things coming. So I know a lot of you have been following me for a while and want to see the BTS stuff especially. So that's going to be coming soon. which I'm looking forward to being back in to be uploading those and show you kind of me at a wedding and how I shoot a wedding. So that's all exciting. So that's kind of what's coming soon. But I just thought it was a nice way for me to reintegrate with the channel by doing a bit of a live. Okay, right, we have a question from Steve. Is there any way to decide what video clip goes in which track? Is there any way you decide what video clip goes in which? Oh, okay, so right, so Steve's asking about my edit timeline here. Let me just expand this. So I have, generally speaking, for every edit, this top bit, well, the grey block is the magnetic timeline. So that's where by default everything would live. But what I do is I put a grey block there because I don't like everything magnetizing to the end of the timeline. So I have all my B-roll clips above the timeline that I can move about freely at will. And I have all my audio, so sound bites from the ceremony. So in this case, there was a reading, and the vows there. I have all the sound bites and speeches and things like that below the timeline. So I put all the speeches and stuff below the timeline here, and then I drop the B-roll over the top. And then I have my audio tracks down at the bottom. I have my titles above the timeline, and I have this purple thing here is I disabled that. It's the letterboxing. You can see that. I always have that above the timeline as well at the very top, so everything's so the letterboxing effect goes over the top of everything. If that answers your question. But this is pretty much how I work for every edit. I just have the audio sound bites and readings and speeches and things like that I'm going to be using. I keep below along with the music, and then I put all the B-roll at the top. And it's just a bit of a jigsaw piece, a jigsaw puzzle, just putting the pieces where they need to go. Let me see if I can put some audio on this. You don't need to hear that. It's all right. Interested to see the review of the TX660. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my TX660. I know it's got a USB-C cable. I'm not sure what else, to be honest, but it doesn't look like there's that many new features to it. But I've read on the website there's a couple of things, so we shall see. We shall see. Can you hear that? Let me. Can you hear the music coming out of the video there? And if you can, is it ruining kind of? Is it overpowering my voice? Investing in two Sony's A7 IIIs, but I'm struggling to get the same super sharp quality that I see in other wedding films. Okay, tripod trio. So two A7 IIIs. It might be to do with the lenses that you're using. You know, I always shoot with prime lenses. They tend to be sharper. But depends on your definition of sharp. You know, I used to use the Samyang lenses, and I still do. My 24mm is a Samyang lens, and they aren't as sharp as some others, like Sigma lenses, for example. But I kind of like a bit of softness to my image anyway. So there's, you know, you want them to be in focus, of course, and that might be to do with that might be a factor in why your stuff's not maybe as sharp if you're not banging focus. But you want a bit of a softness, a bit of a, you know, vintagey, filmy kind of. I quite like that. So It might be to do with the lens choice. Do I use my own LUTs Tess Ryan film? Yes, I do. So I can show you actually. So if I click on a clip, well, I don't know. Let's pick a. So this clip here of the bride, for example. This is my color grade. I'll turn that off, turn it back on. It's just a subtle little nudge into sort of, it just makes it pop a little bit, bit extra contrast, bit of sort of saturation in the greens and stuff. But anyway, so I use Film Convert for my grading, and I have that saved in a preset in here. So I literally just, so if I turn that off, you'll be able to see how that would, what effect that would have if I was to chuck this over the top. It would change the look and the color. So I've saved my settings as a preset, but I've also exported them as a LUT, and that is available on my website. I'll put a link into. I'm trying not to waffle. To answer your question, Tess, you can have my LUT if you want, and you can import that into your editing software. I'll link it in a sec. Let me find the link, and you can have that for free. I can't keep up. Mark Asplin, how's it, Mark? Oh, Mark, mate. Thanks so much for your. I don't know what that's called, Mark, when you donate money, but thanks, mate. That's very kind of you. I will put that towards a pint. It will buy me at least 2 in the north, and I will drink them in your honour. How many weddings do I show a year on my website? Oh, and how long does it take? Well, okay. So how long does it take me to edit a film? It takes me, I say, like 20 hours for a full, 20 to 30 hours for a full wedding. So that includes culling, cutting the multicams, making the longer film, which is 15 minutes. The 15-minute film normally takes me about 10 hours, I would say, 8 to 10 hours. And then the highlights film, which I make from that, which is 5 minutes, that normally takes me about the same, about 8 to 10 hours. And then obviously just the multicam ceremony speeches. So this wedding here that I've got, this is the highlights film. It's clocking in at 5 minutes 53. But then if I go up here, you've got a ceremony multicam that I've just banged together in about, for 10-15 minutes. All the speeches multicammed, cut. Feature film, that is around about 16 minutes, I think, in this one. Same deal. I've got audio down here, B-roll on top of the sound bites. That is just, close to 16 minutes. So for the full wedding, like I say it's 10 hours for a feature film, 10 hours for a highlights film, an hour or 2 for the ceremony speeches. So it's about 20 odd hours. How many websites do I show my how many weddings do I show a year on my website? It depends on the video. It's not necessarily that I'm gonna choose a cut. It's not like I get to the end of the year and I go, right, I've got to put 2 films from this year on my website. I'm basically looking in website portfolio. I'm looking for certain factors, and I have a checklist of what the film needs to have to make it to the website. So whether I've shot that this year or last year or the year before, I'm not really bothered as long as it ticks all the boxes. And the boxes are: does the wedding look nice? Do the couple look really nice? Are they sort of easy on the eye, and dress the, like, and all the guests are kind of dressed smart and stuff? Is it a nice wedding? I'm trying to think of a sort of PC way to phrase that. But is the location nice? Does it look, not so much expensive, but does it just look nice and kind of real and natural? And it's the same. So I'm looking for, I want the venue to look nice, I want the location to be nice, I want the couple to look, and on their personalities to come through, and I want everything, I want the guests to be dressed the part and stuff, so it looks like a nice wedding. But also the weather's got to be good and the lights got to be good. I'm looking for the speeches, or is the audio that I've got to use, so the vows, the readings, the speeches, is that well delivered? Is it spoken eloquently? Do they have a nice accent? I know if it's a local wedding near me, and it's sort of a broad northern accent at a kind of standard wedding venue, it's probably not going to make the website. So I'm looking for those factors, really. Obviously, I want to have done a good job on the film. I want to have edited it well, I want it all to sort of click. But also, I just need it to look like a nice wedding. So as long as it does, and it looks better than the ones I've currently got on my site, then it'll be in with a shout. What fonts do you like using for your films? Love Films. The font I use is I've got my titles here. The font that I use is called Bell MT. You can see that, Bell MT, and I have reduced the size of it, and I've increased the tracking so that it's not like that. It's super stretched out. Although I actually quite like that. But yeah, I have it super stretched out, and quite small. Hey Fletcher, how are we doing? Fletcher Films. Test Ryan, thank you very much. Steve Crow, no, we can't hear your timeline audio. That's all right. I mean, if you want to hear it, let me know and I'll try and turn it on. But I didn't want it distracting what I was saying. I didn't want it to like overpower my voice, because I'm not that I'm getting much editing done, but the idea is to sit and do a bit of work whilst we're chatting. But it's good. I'm liking the questions. Keep them coming. Do I have an affiliation with certain brands? But which music subscription service do I recommend? Yeah, good question, Paul. Epidemic and Music Bed are brilliant. I've used both in the past. I still use Epidemic, and I love Music Bed, but it's a bit pricey. And it's probably worth it if you get a subscription, because the music's really good. But actually, my favourite at the minute is Artlist. All round, I do have an affiliation with them, and I can get you a link that gets 2 months free or something. So just message us if you want that. Because I can get like 2 months free on a year's subscription to Artlist or something. But I don't feel like any sort of loyalty to them. But I really like Artlist at the minute. They're good value, and the music's probably the best. Like Soundstripe's kind of gone off the boil a bit, in my opinion. But I like Artlist. I think they've got the best music alongside with Music Bed. But Artlist is that bit cheaper, and Artlist also has stock footage and sound effects and all sorts like that you can download. And I use sound effects quite a lot. So like natural sounds of birds tweeting and seagulls and like water lapping on the shoreline, or like anything appropriate, bits of sound here and there. So you can see all these clips that I've got here. These are little sound bites from the day, that I've just taken straight out of the. So you can see this clip here of Grandma kind of whooping and cheering, I've included the sound of that here, and it's just been taken straight out of the camera. But so I do like to use little bits of sound bites and hit foley audio here and there, especially when it's like confetti shot. I like to include the cheers. So there's the little sound of that. So you can hear the guests going woo, yeah, yeah, when they're doing confetti. So I was going to share my LUT thing for whoever it was that asked. I can't remember, but I paste that in the comments, right? So that is a link to my LUT if anybody wants to download and use it. That LUT will, I mean, it's only a subtle little grade, to be honest, but if you find on my YouTube channel, if you search for picture profiles on my channel, there's a video on my channel called Picture Profiles for Sony or something like that, because you need to have the right picture profile settings in your camera to make the LUT work as it should. The LUT might work for any profile, but I've designed it to work with my profile. So if you're going to download and use my LUT, then do check out the picture profile as well. Right, next question. Can you share some benefits of entering the National Wedding Awards? So Dan Johnson, National Wedding Awards. If that is a name of an awards body, I don't think I'm familiar with it. But if you're just meaning in general, there is a few different ones. The one I would recommend is the Wedding Industry Awards, and that is national. And I've entered that a few times, and it just gives you a lot of these award bodies you have to pay to enter. But to be honest, even if it's like, a £50, £100 entering fee to be able to be part of the awards, it's a networking opportunity because you get to go to the awards nights and meet other suppliers. And when you're part of that process and you're online and you pay to enter, and then you try and get votes from couples and things like that. But anyone that's nominated for the awards, they go on and check out their competition on the website. So there's a bit of a networking element to it, which is really good. You meet loads of new suppliers by going to these events and these parties. And also, to your brides and grooms, like if you've entered an award or you've been nominated for an award, it looks really good to your couples, and it just gives you a bit of accreditation and confidence with couples in booking you, because when they go on your website and they see all these badges that you've entered awards or you've even won awards, it looks really good for couples. It's a good networking opportunity, and it's just nice to get a pat on the back. If you do win these things, it's affirmation that you're doing the right thing. So it's purely a marketing technique, and it works really well. Hey Jack, how's the baby brewing? Just tuned in when you said how long it took you to edit. Yeah, so 20 to 30 hours per wedding. I spend editing, and that's everything delivered. The film, the multicams, etc. Jade's good. We're still waiting on the baby. Any day now, so that's exciting stuff. I'm having a baby in the middle of wedding season, and the baby is due. Our baby is due any day, so it's full on but very exciting. Am I still using the 55mm and 24mm combo, David Anderson? Yes, I am. I'm still using the 55mm and 24mm. If you weren't tuned in before, I've shot a BTS behind the scenes at a wedding. I filmed myself behind the scenes at a wedding recently, and I'm going to be putting out that on my YouTube channel soon. In the next few weeks, I have to wait till the film of the actual day is finished so that I can show you the film alongside the behind the scenes. So in a few weeks, I will be putting up my latest behind the scenes video, and you will see that I'm still rocking the exact same kit: 55mm prime lens, 24mm, and combo that just works. Sebastian United, hello. Ross Hutch, can you review my first wedding film? Yeah, be happy to. Ross, drop us a message, mate. I'll take a look. Sure thing. I'm on Instagram at Adam Wing Films, so feel free to drop me a message, and at some point I will try and make the time to have a look. I get a lot of people asking me to check out their films, and can you have a look at my latest film and my work and give me some feedback and stuff. And I do try my best to do so and reply to people and give feedback, but I get them quite often. I like to sit down and do it properly, so it's just finding the time. But I'd be happy to take a look. Sheesh. Question on audio levels. Do you edit with headphones in or through speakers? Great question, Craig. CW Film here. I edit sometimes with headphones, but often find the audio needs tweaking. Yeah, so I do both basically. I especially at the minute because I'm kind of in the same room as Jade. I just keep my headphones in. So if I'm on the go, if I'm traveling, or if there's background noise, I want my headphones in so that I can focus on what I'm doing. But I also then listen to it outside of the headphones as well. What's the word? I use the computer speakers, so I'll listen and edit with my headphones in, depending on where I am. But I'll always play it back just without headphones at the computer speaker volume, and then when I've exported it, I'll test it on my phone and listen to it that way, just to check that it does. And I try and set my audio on my phone or my computer to about sort of 60%, and if it sounds like a good level at that volume, then that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to have my phone all cranked all the way up to 100%, because I think when the couple get it, if they were then to plug their film into their TV and try and watch it through their TV, they're going to have to turn the volume all the way up on their TV to like 100%. And then when they flip back to Netflix later on, it's going to blow their head off, because they're normally used to having the TV at like volume 30 or something. And they've put the wedding film on, turned it up to 100, and it's blasted their head off when they've turned back. So I try and go for about sort of 50-60% volume on my phone as kind of the right volume for the film. A couple of London. Hey, just popped in to say hello. Hello. Hi. Love anyone just tuning in. I'm. You can see on my screen, I'm just kind of doing a tiny bit of editing. Not actually doing much editing, but I'm just doing a bit of a Q&A. So welcome. How do you make it look like there is so much dynamic range? I shot my first wedding, and I think it looks okay. If you ever want to check it out, search for Untouched Films on YouTube. Yeah, I will do. I'll check it out. This is from Love First, Untouched Films. Yeah, mate, I will check it out, because you comment on like every video I do, and I love and support. I love the support that you give. So I would be happy to check out your film. What's your question? How do I make it look like there's so much dynamic range? Don't know. I guess it's just a combination of exposing, right? I mean, I have, like I always shoot wide open at f1.8, and I kind of go for a shallow depth of field. But in terms of dynamic range, I guess it's just maybe exposing, right? So that you're not blowing out sort of highlights and things like that, which I do try and avoid. So like this shot, for example, is exposed for their faces, which is they're a bit in shadow compared to everything else. So I've exposed for these two, and everything around it is slightly on the edge of being overexposed. But it wasn't a bright day, to be honest. It was dead cloudy. So I think that saved my bacon here as well. Because on this particular shot, if it had been a super bright day, this might have been well blown out. So the fact that it was cloudy helped, I think. I sound Derby, Oscar Hodges. I'm not Derby, but thanks. I kind of feel like I've got a bit of a chameleon accent. I'm from Blackpool, so I'm northwest Lancashire, but I don't feel like I've got a strong accent either way. But I'm definitely not Derby or Yorkshire, Darshan. Although I've nothing against Yorkshire, but it's the lesser side of the north. Dare me to shoot a wedding blindfolded. That would be interesting. I'm sure the results for that would be interesting. If you do any, okay. If you do any weddings in Yorkshire or above, then let me know. Don't mind second shooting or grabbing BTS. Will do, Paul. Thanks, mate. Appreciate the offer. I will let you know if I'm in Yorkshire. Occasionally, I shoot all over the country, so I can give you a shout. I shoot all over the country and abroad and wherever. So, been digesting your content for a good few months to prep for my first wedding. Callum, nice. Hope it goes all right. Your first wedding's coming up. Do you still use auto white balance for the entire day? Yes, I do. Yeah, I'll just whack it in auto white balance and that's that. I'll keep an eye on it. Sometimes later on in the day when everything starts to go a bit cooler and it gets a bit, like here, like later on at night, the sky's going a bit cool. You lose that warmth in the shot and everything starts to go a bit blue. Occasionally, I might, if we're doing portraits later in the day, for example, with the couple, and it's not quite sort of warm enough, I might slip into cloudy white balance or daylight white balance, and then I'll just tweak and I'll up the Kelvin on cloudy, for example. And I might occasionally, but as a rule, auto white balance is absolutely fine. Certainly, if you're not confident in adjusting white balance, or you just find it easier to do auto, just stick with auto. It's never seen me wrong on my Sonys, at least. Do I always use David? Do I always use auto white balance or adjust on the fly? Yes, I always use auto white balance. Like I say, occasionally, like this season, I've been tweaking every now and again, but not much, to be honest. And I certainly think that you can more than get away with auto white balance. Like you just can. And also, it's bearing in mind what the couple are actually like. Do they care? Do you know what I mean? So like the white balance on some of these clips isn't great, but the couple aren't going to be bothered. Like they're not. Generally speaking, your brides and grooms aren't professional film editors, so they're not really. Like this shot, for example, is a bit yellow on the skin tones and stuff because it's white balanced for this part of the image and not for this part of the image. I'm not bothered. Brad's not going to be bothered. Hey Adam, just uploaded my first wedding film yesterday. Learned so much mainly from my mistakes. Lord, cheers. Nash, good to hear from you, mate, from Australia. Wow. Yeah, listen, every wedding is a learning curve, especially early on. It's a very steep learning curve, and your first few weddings, you will learn loads, and you learn from your mistakes is the best way to learn. Good luck, man. Say man, it might be good luck. Good luck, man or woman. Ronaldus, you are the main reason why I start doing wedding films. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I hope I can continue to inspire and help. I've always had issues, but might just be Panasonic. Yeah, so this is the thing. Obviously, there's me saying use auto white balance, but I'm on Sony A7S. So on my camera in particular, the auto white balance is really good. but doesn't mean that necessarily it is good on all cameras. So I can only give you my experience with the cameras that I shoot on. What are we on? 1:30. Okay, so I mean, I'm game for another 10-15 minutes if you guys are. So keep the questions coming in. I'm just going to turn my TV off because it's annoying me. I'm going to shut that door. All I could hear in the background was, I don't even know what was playing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 5 years? I'd like to be abroad, just not like as a goal. I'd like to be on holiday somewhere anytime soon. I've not been abroad in a long time, like most of us, but it'd be nice to get away. I'd like to think that in 5 years' time, I've got a few days on a beach somewhere. In all seriousness, in 5 years, I would be more than happy just being pretty much where I am now. I'd like to do a few less weddings. I take on normally about 40 to 50 weddings a year. I'd like to do a few less because my child will be kind of growing up by then. And I'd like to spend more weekend time at home. But I'm going to be pretty happy if I'm still smashing weddings. Because I'm at a place where I charge good money. I'm happy with what I'm earning. I shoot for nice couples. I go to nice locations, and I do a good amount of weddings. And if I can continue doing that, and my YouTube channel has grown by another 50,000, 100,000 subscribers, then I will be that would be a nice 5-year plan. But we've got a long way to go if I'm going to reach those numbers. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think the goal is to just keep smashing the weddings, maybe do a bit less, keep the educational content going. Where am I? What is the delivery time to your clients from the wedding date? So, Paul, what I say to couples is that the video will be 10 weeks. I give them a 10-week turnaround time, and then I always try so that as far as they know it's 10 weeks, but I always try to deliver within about 6. So in like peak season, I say 10 weeks to give myself plenty of time, and at this time of year, because I think at the minute I've got about 10 weddings in the sort of backlog. This one, for example, was early July, so it was about 7 weeks ago, and I've just about finished it to send off this week. So yeah, I tell them 10 weeks, but anything I can beat on that, if I can do it any sooner, then I just feel like then I'm sort of under promising, over delivering, so they feel a bit extra grateful that I've turned it around quicker than what I told them. I bought a TX660, the USB-C one, the other day. Excited to try it this weekend in Liverpool. Darsham, let me know how you get on, because I've just ordered one myself as well, but it's saying it's going to be another week or two before it's delivered. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on a TX660. I'm going to do a bit of a review of it on my channel once mine arrives and I've had a chance to play around with it. Basically want to compare it to the TX650 and see how different it is. Dante, have I ever had any equipment fail on me? Yeah. I had a camera overheat once. I was in Spain, and it was about 35 degrees outdoor ceremony. I left my camera just it was like middle of the day. The sun was right over the top of my camera, no shade or anything. I just left it baking on a flagstone at the back of it, and it cut out about 2 minutes before the end of the ceremony, which was fortunate because I didn't miss much footage. But since then, I've kind of learned a few extra tricks to help combat the overheating. And then I probably should have put my camera somewhere a bit more shaded, or at least not left it unmanned. So I had that happen once. Things like mics failing, you just need backups. That happens all the time. I use my TX650s and I'll tape them to venue mics when they're doing speeches, the in-house mic that the guests use, that the speakers use. I'll tape a recorder to one of them. But then if that mic that they're using cuts out for whatever reason and they swap and use a different mic, or they just sack it off and put it on the table and carry on talking without it, that happens quite a lot. So then, of course, the recorder that I've taped to that mic is suddenly rendered useless. So you've got to have backups. You've got to have a recorder pinned onto the speaker's jacket or their shirt as well. You've always got to have backups for those kind of situations because it can happen. It's the best way to prepare is just to go over any possible scenarios that might happen and find contingencies and backups for that. How long does the memory last? So I don't know about the new ones, but the TX650, the battery will last easily all day. Like you could record for like 10 hours and it would last. I've once quite recently, I've left my Sony recorders recording, my TX650s. I've left them recording. So I've hit record, put them on the groom's jacket or whatever. Then I've gone to take it off the groom's jacket, forgot to stop the recording, and I've left it running all day. I've gone home. It's in my bag overnight, and like the next morning when I've come to charge it, it's still recording, and so they last forever. And the 16 gigabytes internal storage is more than enough to get you hours worth of recording. I've never run out of space. I always have them fully charged before a wedding, but I've never run out of space or battery. So they're great in that respect. DJ NJ, I'm shooting my first wedding on the 27th. I've been asked to live stream the ceremony. Have you had that yet? No. Well, I have been asked. Yeah, I've been asked to live stream, but I haven't taken anything like that on personally. I just don't have the setup or the attention span on the wedding day to take that on. I'd rather just focus on, doing the wedding film. I think if I was going to offer live streaming, I'd have someone come and do it for me, and just whatever I charge the couple for a live stream, I'd just pay to the person who is live streaming. So if anyone does offer live streaming, let us know, because if I ever get asked for it, I can give you a shout. But it's not something I would take on top of filming the ceremony myself anyway. So I've not done it myself, no. How often do you feel like an edit isn't coming together like you want it to? Maybe because you haven't got the right content or you haven't taken it in the right direction. Yeah, Jack, that's a good question. So, funnily enough, is that affecting? It's going dark around me, so I'm losing my window light. Funnily enough, this wedding that I've just pretty much finished today, it's taken a while. I've been back and forth with it, edited for a bit, kind of got a mental block, left it, had an hour break, came back to it, and it was kind of I was kind of struggled with this one in particular, because, as you say, I wasn't sure about the direction I was taking it in, and I kind of had a little stumbling block with it. So it does happen. I wouldn't say it happens like very often, but generally, if I feel like it's not quite working, it's because I've found a track that I liked and I've put the track in, and I've tried to make the footage fit to the track, or I've tried to make the footage fit to the piece of audio, and then I've run out of footage before that's my most common problem with editing, is that I'll find the perfect track, the perfect bits of audio. I'll put the audio in the right places during the track so that the audio dips in at the right time and the track kind of builds momentum at the right time, things like that. And then I'll just put the footage over the top, and then sometimes I'll run out of footage or I won't have the right footage for that moment. And it's frustrating, but I just find taking a bit of time to step away from it, have a break, and then come back to it, play it from the start, full screen, it's a fresh pair of eyes, and then you'll kind of, or even say you're struggling, you've started your film. So from the start here, I'll play it from the start. Nice little drone shot. And you start your film, and then you get about a minute in, and you kind of just get stuck and you get a bit of a creative mental block. What I would do at that point, if I really don't know how to continue the film, I would just go to somewhere later in the day and I would just start going through other bits of footage and just culling bits. And it's just something that, say you're up to a minute in the film and you're not sure what you're doing, go back to the rest of your footage from later in the day and just start going through it, skimming through it, cutting out shots that you don't need, trimming to the bits that you do. And it just kind of, it's like that old thing of like when you write, you're writing a story and you don't know where to start and you get writer's block. It's the same sort of thing. If you can forget the start, come back to the start, work on the middle, work on the ending, and then the ideas will start to flow again. But it's a creative process, so I do think taking time away from it is the best antidote. And if you're anything like me, editing it between the hours of like 10 and 2 in the morning, I don't know what it is about the universe, but late at night at that time, it's like where all the creative juices start flowing through the universe, and I'll get all my best ideas during those hours, and I'll sit down and the edit will just come together, and before you know it, it's 2:30 a.m. and I'm wired and I'm not going to sleep for hours, but it's okay because my edit's been smashed. So it tends to work. I have a lot of coffee as well. That's great to hear. Last question from me. Is there any way you deal with coughs or crying, noisy children during the ceremony, vows, or speeches? Tricky one, this. So Paul's asking, if you want to use a specific part of the audio for the highlight film, but there's a kid in the background crying or someone coughing, essentially, if it's really off-putting and it's really jarring, that particular bit of coughing or whatever it is, then if it's going to ruin the audio, then unfortunately it just means that you can't use that piece of audio. Depends how bad it is and what you're willing to. I mean, the thing is, I go back to what I said before about it being about the couple. If they're doing the vows and there is a baby crying in the background, to the couple, like, don't forget that your target audience, your bride and groom, they know whose baby that is. So if they're watching their ceremony and they can hear a baby crying in the background, they're not going to think anything of it. They're certainly not going to judge you on the quality of your audio. So sometimes you just got to take those on the chin and just, if you want to include it. The couple aren't going to mind. But if it's really off-putting and it's ruining the audio, just use something else. See, in Ink, the new Sony a7S III has live stream capabilities. That's cool. That's another reason to buy the a7S III, which I am planning on doing at some point when I've got a bit of money, when I've earned a bit of money back from the pandemic. When I've got the disposable cash again, I'm probably going to get one of those. Worried about the injection passport agenda? It might stop me filming weddings. Mark, don't let it stop you filming weddings, because it might not happen yet. Just wait and see. But I agree with you. I think the vaccine passport thing could happen. It's certainly happening if you're trying to travel abroad. I can't go to a wedding this September in France that I'm supposed to be filming in France next month, and I can't do it because I'm not doubly vaccinated. So, and I can't afford to isolate. So I'm sending somebody else to do it, and it's all good. But it's going to be a factor in our lives, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with. But don't worry about it until it happens. I think the key with this pandemic, if it's taught me anything personally, is that it's always good to just have a bit of a safety net financially, have some money in the bank just in case, but also just have other strings to your bow. I mean, using the same skills, using videography skills, cameras, everything that you do, that you've done to build a wedding videography business, all your videography skills, your editing skills, your business kind of know-how, that can all be transitioned into a commercial film business, or you could be a product videographer or a commercial videographer. You could film nightclubs, you could film properties. So, just be prepared. Put your eggs in different baskets, and we'll see. Who knows what's happening? But I mean, I don't want to dwell on the pandemic, but I do think that now that weddings are back, we're in a good place, and I certainly don't. I mean, weddings aren't just going to get cancelled forever. I think we're back for good now, and I think it's positive. So, which is good, because I do enjoy gate crashing weddings for a living. Seeing Inc, do you find that audio dictates the direction of your films? Yes, I certainly do. That's the first thing that I decide on what goes in the film is the audio from the day. So, like the speeches, the readings, the vows, all the sound bites. So, if there was a particularly strong reading or a nice moment from the speeches or something like that I know I want to use in the film, that's the kind of first bits that I choose. Then I'll choose a piece of music that I think will fit that day. And I'll kind of just skim through B-roll whilst listening to the music, and I'll be like, does this work? Does this work? Yes. Once I've got the track, I'll then try and match the pieces of sound bites, the speeches, etc. I'll try and match those to the track and find the right place in the track to put them. So, for example, you can see down here where I've dipped, you see with these markers here where I've dipped the music up and down to allow the speeches to come in and out. So I've kind of found the right places to put these pieces of sound bites, and I've dipped the music in and out, and then I'll put the footage over the top last of all. So once the audio and the song is in place, I'll then just say, well, which clip works best with that piece of audio, and does that clip fit well there, and does that clip fit well with the next clip, and things like that. Hey Marco, are you only filming handheld? How is your camera set up at the ceremony and speeches one starting? Right, so here's a good example here. This is in the ceremony. So this is me stood, however many feet away from them on my 55mm on a monopod. So all day, all the footage that you can see here is handheld. So all this shot, everything I shoot B-roll is handheld. But then when it comes to the ceremony, I'll put the camera that I've been using all day handheld, I'll put that on a monopod just so that I can film, and I'll just stand that on a monopod and film the ceremony. Then I also have, change the angle, I have my back camera, which you can see there. So I use I have a little mini tripod that I'll put a camera down the back of the aisle. You probably can't see me. I'm hidden. I'm hidden somewhere in the trees there, filming with my other camera, and then this camera angle that you can see here is just from the back on a little tripod. So ceremony and speeches, little tripod, and a monopod, and the rest of the day is handheld. And yes, I use two cameras. So I have my 55mm as my main camera, and I have a second camera with a 24mm on it that I just purely use. That second camera with the 24mm, I just use it for the back angle of the ceremony and the speeches. And then I'll sometimes do a wide shot of the first dance as well. So if I skip through here, so this is a wide angle on the first dance, and then it cuts to the tighter angle. You can see there. Okay. What time are we on? 9 o'clock. Right. Right, guys. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for all the questions and for joining in. I didn't actually think I'd get many people on because I've not done this in so long, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but this might be one of my most engaged Q&As I've done. So I'll definitely be back doing another one. So I'll try and answer a couple more and then I'm going to close off. But thank you so much for joining us. And like I say, the channel is, I'm hoping to be back regular on the channel, posting more stuff. I've got BTS videos coming soon, behind the scenes of me at weddings. I'm doing more kit reviews. I've got loads of wedding films to share. So there's plenty of stuff coming from the channel soon. So I've got Air Grey Project waiting a new video about BTS. So yes, you can get excited. I've got a behind the scenes BTS video coming in the next few weeks. I've just shot one last week. I'm shooting one next week. So I've got a few BTSs coming soon. Now that I'm back in weddings and back in the swing of things. Leo Keller, YouTube just recommended the live stream to me. Hello. Thanks for joining on. I'm glad YouTube recommended you. Hopefully you'll stick around if you're into videography and weddings and stuff. Do I use Multicam? Yes, I do use Multicam in Final Cut. How do you manage file playback with multiple files? Do you know what? It's not a problem. I'm on the latest MacBook Pro. I've spec'd it out, extra RAM and stuff, so I don't use proxy files or anything. It just, I only have two angles for the multicams, but I never have any issue with sort of latency or speed, editing speed. That's impressive ninja skills. See you, Ink. So let me go back to the ceremony here for a sec. So like I'm in there somewhere in the tree, but it just fortunate that obviously the tree is quite dark and it's in shadow, so it's just fortunate that the shadow is covering me. That's not something that I've pre-designed, but a happy accident. Right, so let me see. Cheers, cheers, Adam. Thanks, man. Pretty awesome stuff. Thanks, Marco. Love minimalism. Yes, all about the minimalism. Darshan, thank you. Nash, love the content. Thanks. Hopefully it was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Guys. Just recently got into wedding videos, so your channel will help. Leo, good to hear. Check out some of the videos, Leo. Hopefully there's plenty of helpful stuff on the channel. Good luck getting into weddings. what's your opinion? Is having one video in your portfolio enough to try and get... Yes, John Conway, you're right. This will be my last question because it's a good one to end on. Having one video in your portfolio is enough to try and get clients. Yes, of course. You know, if you're just starting out, reach out to friends of friends or people you know, or anyone that might be looking for a wedding videographer that maybe is last minute, doesn't have the budget, and just, you know, just get your foot in the door, get to as many weddings as you can, second shoot, reach out to other videographers, see if they need second shooters, get experience. But you can definitely use one wedding video as portfolio, because then it's just something that you can show and be like, this is what I did at my last wedding. And the more you shoot, the more portfolio that you have. But you're better to have one good video in your portfolio than 5 not so great ones. So if you've got 5 okay weddings in your portfolio and you're not 100% happy with them because you were still learning, things like that, edit them down into one good show reel. You're better to show off one good show reel than 5 okay wedding films. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna shoot off. Tess Ryan, did I start off pricing wise? Do you start off fairly low? Yes, I mean, depends. I had no experience, so I did my first wedding for free, and then I just started charging a few £100s from there. But it depends where you're at, and what your skills are like, I suppose. But guys, message me on Instagram if you have any questions that I can help with. I don't generally watch YouTube, Paul. Other channels, not really. I listen to podcasts, Our Week in Video. I watch a bit of Gary V every now and again on YouTube. I listen to music and stuff. And thanks, Dan. YouTube channels. What do I watch? I don't really watch that many YouTube channels. I'm afraid to say. I just don't have the time. Tips on directing and posing the couples. Right. Okay. So before I sign off, Noah, tips on directing the couple. I don't really do much directing. I generally just say to them, walk off, walk off that way, have a little chat, hold hands, and just walk that way. When you get to this spot, 100 yards away or whatever, stop, face each other, hold each other, and just have a little bit of a moment. So what I generally tend to get them to do is walk a certain distance, so I can get them walking away, get them to stop somewhere in the middle of a field or whatever, get them to face each other and just hold each other, so they're side on and they're sort of holding each other like that. I'll get a wide shot of that, and then I'll creep in closer and closer, get some tight shots, and then I'll just have them walking back, and that's generally it. Right, that's me, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. This video that I've been kind of not really been editing, but I've had a play around with this video, is going to be going up on the channel soon, so you'll be able to see it, the finished film, because it's quite a good one. It's a bit of a party video. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of this. But until then, thanks for tuning into the live stream. I will be back to do another Q&A soon, maybe, because I've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for listening, watching, tuning in, and I will see you all very soon. Take care. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the rest of the wedding season.